Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be talking about the phylum Bryozoa, specifically the Pectinatella magnifica. Bryozoans are typically an overlooked phylum of animals that were initially even thought to be plants, hence the name meaning moss animals. Bryozoans are widely distributed aquatic invertebrates that typically form colonies composed of numerous zooids. The phylum Bryozoa consists of three classes, and the species I'll be talking about today, the Pectinatella magnifica, is a part of the class Phylactylemmata, which is the freshwater dwelling class. Freshwater bryozoans thrive in slow-moving or still water among vegetation and readily colonize submerged surfaces. Common characteristics of bryozoans are that they have a cystid, which is a secreted protective layer around the body and includes the secretory organ itself. The polypid consists of all of the internal living parts of each zooid. This is the muscular, nervous, and digestive systems, as well as the tentacles. The funiculus is a cord of tissue that links the stomach to the lining of the body and distributes nutrients throughout the colony. The feeding structure consists of a lophophore and a complete digestive tract. Bryozoan zooids feed on detritus and plankton captured by their sweeping lophophore tentacles. The tentacles are raised by the hydrostatic pressure of the body fluid, and the freshwater species also have a muscular contractile body wall, which aids this movement. Beating their tentacles draws water into the top of the feeding structure and propels the water out between the tentacles, leaving the food particles. This allows the aquatic animals to live in slow-moving waters as colonies because they are able to sweep food towards themselves. These particles move through the digestive tract and leave through the anus. The ability to release undigested material prevents these organisms from being harmed by particles they cannot digest. Colonial Formation. Individual zooids usually are no larger than 1 millimeter in length, yet they are effectively complete animals. In their colonial form, zooids live interconnectedly and grow to be up to half a meter in diameter. Zooids within these colonies are not completely interdependent of one another, and if one part of the colony is disrupted, the other parts will go unharmed. Interestingly, these colonies will continue to grow until there is a drastic change in their environment. When the seasons bring colder and less favorable conditions, the colony will disintegrate. In theory, if the conditions are continuously optimal, the colony would continue to expand exponentially. Colonies arise for the most part by asexual budding, creating a mass of genetically identical replicates which allows these colonies to rapidly expand, though they can also reproduce sexually, which produces genetic variability. Uniquely, freshwater species also are able to produce statoblasts. Statoblasts are surrounded by hard protective cases and include an air-filled float and hooked spines. These usually develop within the colony during late summer and are dispersed as the colony disintegrates with the approach of winter. Statoblasts are able to survive dry and freezing conditions and can initiate a new colony when the conditions are favorable. These promote the life of the freshwater bryozoans, as freshwater habitats are more variable than marine habitats, as they pose the obstacle of fluctuating temperatures and small bodies of water are prone to drying out. The production of statoblasts is considered to be a contributor to the Pectinatella magnifica's ability to endure hindering conditions and promote invasive tendencies. The method of dispersal for these statoblasts is typically through the feathers of birds they'll get caught on, or by being ingested by fish. The environmental impacts of these organisms is that they are invasive species. It is believed that Pectinatella magnifica is native to North America, but its distribution now reaches across the globe. This invasive species is mainly thought to be dispersed by shipping boats and between water bodies by birds with statoblasts caught in their feathers and in the stomachs of fish which cannot digest them. Invasive species bring potential adverse impacts on biodiversity and ecosystem functions in the environment they are introduced to. The Pectinatella magnifica is a colonial filtrator, and with its massive size, the influence of on the ecosystem it inhibits could be just as large, altering species composition, trophic levels, and the chemical makeup of the water. Impacts of the invasion. As non-native filter feeders, these organisms increase competition for optimal habitats against native filter feeders. With increasing temperatures due to climate change, it is expected that these colonies of freshwater species will be able to grow for longer periods of time while the conditions are optimal, which may compound the consequences of their adverse impacts. Recent studies have suggested that they can serve as a host to a parasite that threatens salmonids fish species, which has a favorable or an unfavorable impact on aquaculture and natural fish populations. Specific toxic compounds within these organisms have been identified, and studies on the cytotoxic effects on the environment and other organisms are being conducted. Besides the undesirable impacts, the Pectinatella magnifica invasion may have some benefits, as their ecological impact is not completely known, and they may be able to regulate algal blooms and enhance nutrient cycling in freshwater systems. Research has also suggested that some other chemical compounds they possess are antimicrobial, which may benefit the health of benthic algal communities.